All right, little post-practice recap here. Just got done hitting some balls at a driving range near me here in Sacramento. And it's very hot in Sacramento today, so sorry if I look a little fried. Shout out Tito's. Thank you for keeping my eyes protected on a very hot and sunny day. Shout out Almigos, always making me look good. It's amazing how many things I see on a driving range, whether it's a public range, private range, doesn't really matter. But when I do go hit balls, which is fairly infrequently these days, I tend to just play more when I have time for that sort of thing. But when I do hit balls, I see a lot of people doing things that are clearly hindering whatever progress they think they're making by being at a driving range on a day like this. So here's a couple things I saw, and these are things that I would recommend most people avoid when they go to a driving range and want to work on their game. Number one, range balls are really expensive. I've taken this for granted over the years. I've been very blessed to play at a lot of places or practice at a lot of places where the balls were free. Range balls are not cheap. And I saw Trotty Golf, Chris Trott from TaylorMade, mentioned the same thing in one of his stories the other day. He paid 17 bucks for some balls in somewhere in Southern California, San Diego, Carlsbad, not sure. I paid 13 bucks for 70 balls today. That seems like highway robbery because all the balls, condition-wise, are terrible. They don't fly straight. They don't fly the correct distance. You come to a place like this more so just to focus on contact, maybe focus on your own mechanics or technique, certainly not to watch the ball flight. So number one, if you're going to pay that much for range balls, value each of those range balls. There are a couple guys that got here same time as me. They bought the same number of balls, maybe more balls, and they were done in 30 minutes. I get it. It's hot. Hit your balls, get out of here. But I mean, what are you doing? There's no way you're getting anything out of hitting those balls because you're not putting any thought into it. It's just whack one, whack one, whack one. And then to listen to them get frustrated as they hit it worse and worse is honestly kind of funny because, again, there's no way there's a thought process on each of those. You know, I had 70 balls. It took me an hour and a half basically to go through them. Well, maybe not quite an hour and a half, but I was here a while, right? Had the Tour Striker ball out, doing a lot of practice swings, rehearsals, trying to get very specific feels, filmed a couple of swings. I'm practicing with a purpose so that I know what I do is going to pay off at some point in the future. I don't know how many reps it's going to take, but it's certainly better than just coming out, whack a bunch of balls, leave. You're not practicing anything. You will not see any results from that type of practice session. The other thing, random things. One guy he had a Mevo out, one of those little flight scopes, and I understand, you know, that small device like that, is the data that accurate anyway? It's probably pretty accurate, but again, the balls here are terrible. I can't imagine he's getting any value out of seeing how far his 8-iron goes with these balls. It doesn't really feel like there's a point. Put the Mevo away, save it for another day. It's bad feedback. The only thing at the end of the day that really matters when we practice, when we play, is feedback, right? And if all the feedback, all the data you're getting is based on what you see out of these range balls, you're actually really not getting anything of value. When you go hit your ball on a real golf course tomorrow, the distance is not going to be the same. So you're wasting your time. The same guy with the Mevo was filming basically his entire practice session, but he was filming it from really obscure angles that, again, I don't know if he's a influencer of some kind and he was just creating content. If he thinks he's going to learn something about his swing from watching these videos later, he's not. If you're going to film your swing, it's either face on, right at you, right? Position that camera right in the middle of your chest, or it's down the line and that camera should basically be same line as your hands at address. That's it. The last one, the guys that are taking advice from like basically maybe these guys were friends, but they weren't hitting in the stalls next to each other. So I assume that they kind of just struck up a conversation about God knows what. And then one's helping the other. And I can't help but think this is basically like the blind leading the blind. Either get really good advice, go see a golf professional and get really good advice, or don't. You know, find some drills, find some training aids that work for you, and then again, just be very diligent about every ball you hit and try to do something very specific with every ball you hit. Collect your own feedback and just dig it out of the dirt, as Tiger Woods would say. But don't take advice from the guy in the stall 2 down who's, I don't know, hitting it 1% better. I mean, 1% is a starting point, I guess, for some of us, but by the looks of it, they're both high handicaps. I mean, it's not like one guy's a scratch and one guy's a 20, and you can take some of what that scratch golfer has to say really seriously. I wouldn't. Just do your thing, right? Or go seek real help. But that's not real help. If anything, it's probably going to create more issues, because this guy can't properly diagnose why you're hooking it, why you're slicing it. He's going to give you something probably very generic that probably doesn't even work for himself. Probably saw it in a YouTube video one time, and that's that. So put in some headphones, do your own thing. That'd be my advice. That's about it for my rant. I don't come to places like this super often, so it's always eye-opening when I do come and I see some of the things I see, which always make me scratch my head. But my whole purpose in creating this new page and trying to create some content is to help people legitimately play better golf, and hopefully do it in the simplest way possible. There's not a lot that I truly believe if you want to be a better golfer. It's basics, but these are little things that I would, if you watch this and you're like, oh, I do some of those things, don't do them anymore. It's delaying your progress. Work smarter, not harder. Words to live by.